The Alliance Health Center in Meridian, Mississippi does represent hope, healing, and recovery. We are a 154-bed psychiatric as well as substance abuse hospital, and our population ranges from ages 12 all the way to 55 plus. So we do have adolescent units where we do inpatient services with them. We have adult psych units as well as those geriatric units, which is the 55 plus. All of our groups and everything that we do is designed to help cope with a variety of mental health issues, whether it be depression, anxiety, whether it be substance abuse, things like hallucinations, paranoid, delusional thinking. We target any problem that the patient may be having, and our goal is to help them recover so that they are able to go back home and operate and live their daily lives on their own. So our mission here at the Alliance Health Center, it says that our commitment to excellence remains at the heart of what we do. The programs at the Alliance are designed around your unique needs, and it is our promise that you and your loved ones will be treated with dignity and respect in a comfortable environment that is conducive to healing. We are certified by the Joint Commission, and this is the CEO, Jay Shea. So, the Alliance Health Center is committed to providing the highest level of care to patients, and we do rec therapy groups twice a day. And the team here at the Alliance Health Center, it consists of physicians, nurses, therapists, and mental health professionals, such as social workers, as well as mental health techs. So, before we are able to do our recreational therapy groups, which is conducted twice a day with one RT staff, two MHTs, which is the mental health tech, we have to assess the patient. So, the assessment process goes a little something like this. We go to the unit, whether it's geriatrics, adolescents, adult, whatever unit they're on, we go there and we get all the intake information. The intake information includes things like medical history, health issues, physical health, reasons for admission. We gather all the information we can about the patient before we actually do the assessment. So, here is an example of an assessment. As you can see here, we have initial appearance, observed behavior, physical status, emotional status, cognitive status, social behavior. All of those are things that we personally observe during the assessment. So when we assess the patient, we are to look and observe things like how were they interacting with you? Were they neat, well groomed? Were they able to walk alone? Were they appropriate? Were they depressed? Did they seem happy, blunted? Were they alert? Were they oriented? We are to document those things just by observing what the patient does. This is while we're talking to the patient. This is before we even ask them any personal questions. We are just to look and observe those things and document them here. Now, we do ask the patient what type of mood they're in. That is quoted directly from the patient. So, patient describe mood as, and we'll write it there directly in quotes. Then we'll ask the activity and interest, leisure interest, to see what groups would best fit them. So once they tell us what they're interested in, that is something that we also get from the patient. We don't observe that, we get that from them. So they'll fill out that section. And then there's a strength and a weakness section on the next page that is also observed from us. So once we're talking to the patient, you can kind of get a good grasp on what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are. So for example, do they have social skills or do they have limited social skills? Is their self-esteem high? Is it low? We ask them questions like, do you have transportation? Do you have financial resources? Who is their support system? So we're just basically getting to know the patient. They also fill out the self-awareness section on their own, and it's just to see the ability for insight. Do you know why you're here? Do you know what you personally need help with? So once the assessment is complete, we do analyze it and begin planning. So Basically, what we do is we pull a problem from the assessment. Every problem has to be backed up by evidence, by information that was taken from the assessment. So, for example, we can have a problem. Okay, we can say mood instability and poor coping skills. So, that is the problem that I would have pulled from the assessment. And that can be backed up by, as evidenced by, patient could have reported depression and anxiety on a scale from 0 to 10. 10 for depression, 10 for anxiety. That shows me that the patient does have mood instability. So we have mood instability with poor coping skills. Patient stressed out due to life stressors. So therefore, he's having anxiety and depression. So that shows me that the patient does have poor coping skills. So with that problem, mood instability and poor coping skills, as evidenced by depression and anxiety, lashing out by family members, it's a wide variety of things that we can use to determine the problem. Once the problem is determined, we then begin to write a treatment plan. Okay, so the treatment plan template looks like this. So you see the problem as evidenced by long-term goal. So basically we'll put the problem here. Like I said, mood instability with poor coping skills as evidenced by patient reported anxiety and depression, 10 on a scale from 0 to 10 with 10 ranking the highest. Patient lashes out on family member. That backs up the problem that I stated. So each treatment plan can have up to 3 goals. It has to have at least 2, but it can have up to 3. So once we plan the goals for the patient, it of course is going to directly target the problem. So for example, one goal for mood instability and coping skills could be patient will report 2 leisure activities that help cope with depression, anxiety, as well as life stressors. So that one goal already targets mood instability and poor coping skills. So that is how we determine the remainder of the goals. We just relate it directly to the problem, we fill it out there, and then their treatment plan is complete. So once their treatment plan is complete, they do begin group. So like I said, group is conducted 2 times a day with 1 RT staff, 2 mental health techs. Now, group is usually 50 minutes long. It has to be at least 50 minutes long, actually. Once we start group, we do a warm-up, whether it be a getting to know you, whether it be a toss and talk ball. We do some type of warm-up before the activity starts. Now, each group is conducted. I'm going to just show you a calendar. This is a monthly calendar for April. So as you can see, our groups are already planned out for the month. And at the top, you can see that each day, the groups target certain problems. So for instance, Sunday targets problem solving, self-awareness. Monday, sensory stimulation, health and fitness, leisure awareness. On Tuesday, we focus on remnants, problem solving, arts and crafts, self-esteem, and etc. Each day for the week, we are targeting a certain problem so that we are sure that we are able to hit every problem that a patient may be able to have, and they are getting the treatment that they need, whether it be any problem. We are targeting them all throughout the week. So our calendars do have the groups, times that they start each day and what they will be doing. So for example, okay, Monday, 10 a.m., we have outdoor recreation at 10 a.m., and at 1 p.m., we have Pyramid of Leisure, which is a leisure education activity. That's just an example of how our day-to-day calendars look. And each unit has their own calendar. So depending on the population or the unit that you're placed on, you will have your own calendar, and it will have different groups depending on that certain unit's problems. So that's that. So during group, we have to document group notes. And I have one of those here somewhere. Okay. So this is an example of a group note template. As you can see here, we have focus of group, which is where we basically describe what type of group it'll be, what will it target, how will it help the patient. We have demeanor and behavior, so we document whether or not the patient was cooperative, uncooperative, resistant, angry. However the patient acts, we document there. We have cognitive status that we also document that. Were they alert? Were they distractible? Were they rambling? Were they hallucinating? Anything that the patient was doing, it has to be personal and specific for the patient when you document information. So we also have a summary here, and here is where we write our summary. And it's basically a description of what the patient did during group. So for an example, you can say, patient actively participated throughout group. Patient showed friendly behavior to peers as evidenced by laughing and smiling throughout group, showing appropriate behavior. Patient showed no aggression. However, whatever you write here in the summary must relate directly to their goals, which is the 3 goals that we talked about earlier that the patient will have. So for instance, if a goal for the patient is to participate in one recreational therapy group without responding to any hallucinations, what we will need to document here, we need to target that goal. So whether or not they met it, we must address that goal. So for example, I would write, patient did not respond to or report any hallucinations during group. Boom, there's the goal targeted. So we do have to make sure that we are addressing goals every time we document for group notes, because that is showing whether or not the patient is progressing or not. So once group is conducted, we do have to do group notes after each group on each patient that attended the group, or even if they didn't, we must document that as well. So every day at the Alliance Health Center, I was monitored by a CTRS. The CTRS that were over me was Danette Berry. She was my direct supervisor, and also Hannah Culpepper. Each day we worked, one of them had to be there to oversee the interns. So a typical day for me would be doing an assessment, getting that done, as well as doing group, either co-facilitating and assisting, because as interns, we weren't really able to conduct groups on our own. So I would co-facilitate a group, help, and that would include gathering information for the group. That would include writing group notes. That would include doing the group with the assistance of another RT staff there. And all these things is everything that we did every day to help prepare us for employment. I actually am a PRN employee with the Alliance Health Center. So everything that we were doing definitely prepared me for what I'm doing right now. I did learn a lot during this internship, and I feel like it was a great experience for me to touch with every population. I've worked with kids, I've worked with addicts, I've worked with recovering addicts, I've worked with people with mental health issues as far as hallucination, depression. I've worked with a variety of populations, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do that with this internship. I do have a different insight on psych. I actually didn't want to work in psych at first, but now I'm actually considering it. It's not as bad as I thought. But I did have a lot of fun doing this internship, and I learned a lot, and I'm so glad that I chose RT. So thank you so much, Ms. Marlowe. Thank you so much, Dr. Green. Thank you so much for all the USM instructors for pushing us to be the best RT staffs that we can be once we graduate. And I thank you so much for all of your insight and everything.